Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, Head Currency Analyst. In this video I'm going to take you through the week ahead analysis. We're going to highlight the news for the week and some charts of interest. So let's take a look at the news. We have lots of data out this week, lots of high impact data. Just to note, first of all, we do have a US bank holiday tomorrow, so there might be some lighter volumes throughout the afternoon, so just be aware of that. We then have an RBA cash rate. Now it looks like the RBA are going to look to hike interest rates again from 1.85% up to 2.35%. So if we do get the forecasted number here, I think the last two times that we've seen the forecasted number come in, we've seen a drop in that currency. So maybe Aussie's going to continue its downward path. If they hike above expectations, then that could be quite bullish, but we'll see how that comes out. We then have some ISM services PMI data, which could be interesting to take a look at. Obviously, PMI and things like that go towards inflation. So, you know, usually anything above 50 for a PMI is good. So even if it is forecast to drop to 55, above 50 is still a good number. So just be careful and be aware of that. We then have some monetary policy report hearings out of the pound. Now, I have made a little side note. On Monday, we do have a UK Prime Minister announcement, and it is between Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. Liz Truss is currently ahead in the polls, so she's likely to be the next UK Prime Minister. So that could add some volatility to the pound on Monday. So just a kind of side note there, be aware of that. We have several Fed members speaking this week as well, so we're going to get lots of volatility in the market. Now, I've talked about volatility in the past before, and usually when volatility rises, the dollar tends to do pretty well. So there is a good potential for the dollar to do well again going into this week. We then have a pretty important announcement from the ECB, and it's a rate announcement. Now, it's forecasted here for a 75 basis point hike. Now, I believe 75 basis points is what the market wants to see from the ECB. However, there are reports around that it could be a 50 basis points. Now, I don't think 50 is enough. I don't think 50 will excite investors. I think it's going to disappoint the market, and if they only hike by 50 basis points, we're going to see some serious downside to the euro. If we get the 75 basis points as well, you know, we could still see a little bit of downside, but it's a little bit more aggressive from the ECB, and the euro has been gaining a little bit of strength recently, so a 75 basis points and above would be fairly, I'd say, hawkish for the euro. We then have, obviously, the ECB press conference as well. We can kind of gauge what the next steps are going to be for the ECB. But then we have Federal Chair Powell speaking. And again, I've made a note over here to say this is the first time he's speaking since the Jackson Hole event. And obviously in the Jackson Hole event, he was very hawkish on the economy and on the battle against inflation. So big talk coming out of the Fed. So we're expecting some serious hikes. So Fed Chair Powell speaking is going to add some volatility on Thursday. So those are the main events that I'd keep an eye out for this week. Let's take a look at some charts of interest after the strength meter. So the strength meter this week, not showing us too much. What we can see is a few things. We can see the dollar, for instance, this red line gaining strength and continuing to gain strength. We can see here that the euro, when it came into this reversal zone, did start to gain strength and is against the majority of currencies now. I think only the Swiss franc, the CAD and the dollar are stronger than the euro at the moment. So you can see here, nice positive 3 number, starting to see that potential euro gains. Aussie had a poor performing week last week, and again, I think we're going to see that pattern continue. And we also saw the Swiss franc reverse from the +5s coming down. So the reversal that we were looking for on Swiss franc last week played out very well if you were looking for the Swiss franc downside. Pound is at the reversal point. I just think that pound is still a little bit vulnerable, so I don't really see that changing too much right now, but it could obviously just be aware that it is bottoming out on the strength meter. So let's go and have a little look at some charts of interest. You're just going to start off here with Euro US dollar. I have monthly volume profile chart on a 4-hour time frame. The reason why I've got this up is just because we are consolidating. I talked about this in the Forex market wrap, but if you haven't seen that, you can see this here. We've got this nice range developing here on the 4-hour time frame, and we're all trading below the monthly value area low, as well as this pocket of low volume just through here. Now, if I want to be a buyer of this market, there's going to have to be some really big conditions, and that's going to have to be the Fed disappointing the market, the ECB not disappointing the market, and price trading above this 100, I should say, which is above this low volume node. I think if we get a close above that, that's when you want to be bullish this market. Until then, I think you're either going to see price stay in this range, or if it breaks below 99, 0.99, I think we could see some further downside at that point. But until then, your best bet at the moment is to continue to look at the range play through here until price breaks out, and that could be through a numerous amounts of events this week. So I would keep an alert around about 0.99 and 1.0100. If price breaks through any of those levels, you've got opportunities potentially forming. Going on to the pound then, so expecting some further downside to the pound. I do quite like this level down here, which is 1.1450. It just has a little bit of support looking left on a range. So I do quite like the opportunity of potentially being a buyer from this area. Again, I don't really like the pound strength or the lack of at the moment, but it is bottoming out on the strength meter, which can often see some significant reversals. So, you know, at the moment we're tapping into lows. If we take out this low here and go for the 114.50, I think that we might find some buyers in and around this area this week. Going on to Aussie US dollar then, so I'm expecting Aussie US dollar to continue lower. We've got the current monthly and we have the weekly as well, and the reason why I've added both is because the current monthly value area low and last week's point of control are at the exact same area, so that to me is quite a strong level of resistance, so around about 68.58. If price was to trade to that level and we saw some sellers stepping in, we could look for some opportunities to the downside and potentially look for a move back to the July month value area low. So that's what I'm kind of expecting to happen this week after we've traded below August's value area low. We're technically trading below last week's value area low. So if that sentiment is going to continue, I'd expect to see price retest 6720 of the previous monthly area. Going on to dollar yen then. So I like the idea of being a dollar yen buyer this week. We've been talking about longs dollar yen for quite some time actually, so like the opportunity to continue that momentum. We've recently broken out of the 139.40, which was this significant high here, as well as the current week's value area high. So a good little area to look for some support. If price was to come back to this level and we were to see buyers step back in, we could be looking for some opportunities around that area. Nice level up at 145, which is something I quite like on a monthly chart. There's a decent level above there. I couldn't fit it on the screenshot, but there's a big level around about 145 to keep your eye on, and I think that's where price could be heading next for the dollar yen. So I'm going to be watching this 139.40 to see if price can retest this area. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching this video update. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more of our Forex trading content. And I'll speak to you in the next video.